Welcome to part 5 of the Depeche Mode Liturgy. We are on song 2 of Songs of Conversion. And this one, I don't know, this one might be my most controversial one yet, depending on who you are and what you think of this. But we had wrong, just this confession of just, I know something's wrong with me. The sinner in me, that sinner in me is causing some problems that I don't want in my life. And then Dave Gahan's beautiful Speak to Me, which ends with, and I'm found. And then we shifted, not just musically, but also spiritually, to personal Jesus, this confession of conversion, this acceptance of a personal Jesus. And now, song 2 in Songs of Confession is Newborn. Now, one, if you're a casual Depeche Mode fan, you may or may not be familiar with this. It was not a single. It was actually a B-side to the single release of A Pain That I'm Used To from Playing the Angel. That said, it's an incredible song. I wish it made the album. I wish it was not a real single. I wish it was a single. It's just fantastic. If you're a Christian and you're a Depeche Mode fan, you know that it starts off with Newborn for the first time. I'm not born again. I've never lived at all. I get it. Here's the thing. Martin Gore, David Gahan sings, Martin Gore wrote this one. He is too familiar with the Christian faith for that to be an accident and to not have a purpose. Baby Bono needs you to know that we are not telling you this is what Martin Gore and David Gahan meant. I'm not telling you this is what Newborn means. I am telling you why Newborn is important to me, why it's made my Depeche Mode liturgy, and why I use this song in my own prayer and worship time as part of that Depeche Mode liturgy. Now, it starts off, Newborn for the first time. I'm not born again. I've never lived at all. Again, no way that wasn't on purpose. I can only assume it's a declaration. But I get that this song is saying he's not born again. And Martin Gore knows what that means. But the rest of this song plays out like it's a prayer of a new believer. I'm not a new believer. I've been a Christian since I was a kid. I spent summers at Christian camp. I went to Bible college to become a pastor. I've been a youth pastor. I've been a singles pastor. I've been involved in lay ministry, parachurch organizations, active in churches my entire adult life. But I can't help but think of Psalm 51, which is a prayer of confession by David when David got called out for his sin with Bathsheba, not just the adultery and the sexual side of that, but also setting up the murder of her husband, was Uriah, I think. Like, the prophet Nathan calls him out. He's caught, and he writes this beautiful confession. But in verse 12, kind of like right in the middle of this confession, he says, "Restore to me the joy of my salvation, and grant me a willing spirit to sustain me." And this song, Newborn, reminds me of a prayer about just remembering the joy of salvation. And I don't want to say salvation isn't joyous. It's not joyful the older you get. But life takes a toll. Sin takes a toll. Death takes a toll. You work out your salvation. You're a little more thick-skinned. I'm not saying I don't have joy in my salvation, but Newborn kind of takes me back to those more innocent, naive times of that first burst of joy, or those times where it's exciting and everything is new. Again, it starts Newborn for the first time. I'm not born again. I've never lived at all. I've opened up my eyes. Now I hear the world talking. I've opened up my eyes and I've just started walking. Again, I know he's not talking about salvation. I know that he's not talking about a personal relationship with a personal Jesus. But that certainly describes someone new to the faith. We talk about a baby in the faith. Talk about a newborn Christian. We even have words in our circles, born again, which is why I think that's very purposeful. But this idea of being born of the Spirit, being born in the spiritual world, moving from a kingdom of dark, what the Bible talks about, kingdom of darkness to a kingdom like that being a newborn in that relationship. And I don't want to suggest this song is naive. I don't think it's naive. But I think it's very innocent in a lot of ways, kind of like somebody. I don't think the love song Somebody, I don't think it's naive, but I think it's this innocent, this hopeful, ideal, idealistic view of love. And I love that innocence here. I've got someone who cares for me, someone who believes in me. I've got someone understanding me, someone crying over me for all the right reasons. And again, there's a lot to be said about Martin Gore's words, David Gahan's singing, how what Martin Gore writes bounces off of Dave Gahan's history, but that someone crying over me for the right reasons, not out of sadness, not out of pity, not out of concern or remorse, but out of love and out of joy. Earlier we talked about the lost sheep, the lost coin, that prodigal son and being found. Here's how the Bible, Luke chapter 15, explicitly describes that being found. Luke says this: I tell you, in the same way, there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than the 99 righteous persons who do not need to repent. That idea of someone crying over me for all the right reasons, this celebration, this love, this just I love it. Like, Newborn is such an incredible song, and I would argue for me, it's this incredible prayer, this incredible confession of conversion. And then it repeats, right? Newborn for the first time. I'm not born again. I've never lived at all. I've opened up my eyes. Now I hear the world talking. I've opened up my eyes. I've just started walking. And then it ends very similarly to the previous lines, right? I've got someone seeing grace in me, someone respecting me. I've got someone who's there for me, someone saying prayers for me for all the right reasons, And that twist of fate, I could only assume there's this acknowledgement that people are praying for Dave in his darker days, in his heroin days, in his, flatlining, being resuscitated days, just, in the world at large, thoughts and prayers in the Christian world, like literally praying and asking God to protect someone and save someone. And now in this newborn relationship, and I would argue this relationship, the salvation, this new child of God adopted into the household of faith, now you have people praying over you for all the right reasons. Not that you would repent and be saved, not that God would protect you, not that God would, but now whatever that new step, that newborn, I'm just walking, where am I going now? Protect them in that walk, in their relationship, I love Newborn. I wish it was a single. It's a fantastic B-side. It's one of those songs that, like, a Depeche Mode B-side is so often better than other band singles. But yeah, you have personal Jesus, this confession of conversion, just this relationship with a personal Jesus, and then this newborn prayer of what it's like to start that relationship. I just started walking faith. If you've been around faith, walk by faith, not by sight. This idea of learning to walk in trust, learning to walk in obedience, walk in the light, all the things. Newborn's awesome. There's a lot more to be said. You could probably do a whole sermon series on just what it means to walk by faith, not by sight. Doesn't mean we don't trust. Never mind. You could do a whole sermon series on what that means to walk by faith, not by sight. Newborn's awesome. It's why it's that the immediate follow-up to personal Jesus in my personal Depeche Mode liturgy as an act of prayer and worship. Yeah, I see Newborn. So like, subscribe, follow, tell me your thoughts below, because next, the last song in our Songs of Conversion, right? We got Songs of Confession, Wrong, Sinner in Me, Speak to Me, Songs of Conversion, Personal Jesus, Newborn, and the next one is I Feel You. Come back. We'll talk soon.